the My Pocket Preceptor podcast. Today we have an awesome guest. His name is Dominic. He's going to tell us all about his experience as a new to practice nurse. A little bit of background with Dominic. I work on a similar floor with him. Our floor is kind of broken down into 3 different sections, where there is the step-down ICU, there's med-surg, and then there is the seizure section. And Dominic works on the med-surg. He is a phenomenal nurse. I knew that the moment I started working with him, and I just wanted for him to share his story because, number one, he's a male. So he has a different perspective from, the traditional female nurse. And as I said before, he is a great nurse. And I just really wanted for him to share his story. So
thank you.
Take it away, Dominic. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe why you decided to start becoming a nurse.
Sure. Honestly, a lot of people ask me. It starts with my mother. She instilled in me from a young age that nursing was a good career in terms of being able to travel 3 days a week, good income, purposeful, raise a family, right? As you get older, a lot of career paths. So 2 best friends were nurses. And I guess she saw the life they could live, and they were successful and happy. And I had the personality for it, because she raised me in an appropriate way. So she instilled it in me in high school, and then I kind of just ran with it. And then into college, went to Stockton for 4 years down in South Jersey, and got a health science degree, and then did a 12-month program at Jefferson in Abington-Dixon, Pennsylvania, to get my BSN.
Awesome. So this is actually a second degree for you.
Second degree. I always wanted to do nursing. And for everybody who has, not so great SAT scores and stuff like that, who couldn't get into a 4-year program like myself, had to do 4 years and then do an accelerated program, which I think a lot of people do. So, yeah, I had to do that, actually. I had to go 4 years, get a degree, and then a 12-month BSN program.
Actually, that's an interesting strategy that you just brought forth. That's really, really good to know. That, some people may wait out a year or even get discouraged into going into nursing because they didn't get into the nursing school the first time. So as you're saying, you can,
Right.
Just get a degree in something else and then go into the accelerated program.
Absolutely.
That's really awesome.
Absolutely. It should take 4. It took me 5. But, as long as you get there,
You reached your goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So what does your mom do, if you don't mind me asking?
My mom is a nanny. My mom is a
nanny.
mine.
So is
Wow.
mine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's weird because you say that and you don't know what the response is going to be.
Right.
But a lot of people say, they know someone is or their mother is as well. So yeah, I mean, she's had many different jobs, but past few years, nanny. She's a nanny.
I mean, I kind of understand maybe your apprehension to saying that. And I usually don't ask people what their parents do, just in conversation now, but people are so judgmental, and it's so unfortunate that they would put such a stigma on such an amazing role that you're playing for someone. You're literally raising a human being. And I have a son. He's 16 months now.
Okay.
Listen, the nanny's next to me. The nanny's the most important person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's be real. That's what it comes down to. It doesn't sound as elegant as saying a nurse or a physician or anything like that. Nanny, you're hesitant to say,
Right. And we can see the products of it. She raised me, my aunts, and that kind of stuff. And look at the gentleman that she raised. And as I said before, you are a stellar person. You're genuine and you're honest and you're a great nurse. And that's some really great things that your mom should be proud of.
Thank you.
So you went to Stockton and then you went to Jeff. I went to Jeff too. Would you recommend that? Because a lot of people may ask about going to an accelerated program. Is Jefferson one that you would recommend if you're in the Philadelphia area?
I would absolutely recommend. It just depends if you're looking for a 1 year, 12-month rigorous thing, just May to May, get it done. No life outside of that. If you can do that and you're willing to buckle down and you think, the person you are, you can do that. Absolutely. Learned so much. Clinical was amazing. Jeff has a lot of good ins, especially in the Abington area and Center City, obviously. So I would suggest it if you could basically have 12 months continuous. But if you can't, then I would suggest maybe at least Jefferson, over 4 semesters, where you could look into like a 15-month thing where I think you have a few more breaks compared to 12,
Right.
you know.
Right. That's a great idea. So
What'd you do?
you,
If you don't mind me asking,
oh,
what'd you
sure.
do at Jeff? The Fact 2, or did you do accelerated, or?
So my career path, I got a scholarship to go to the University of Pittsburgh. So I did that for 4 years and then came and got a job at Penn on the same floor that we're working on now, and then went back after 2 years and got my master's. So Jefferson
Oh,
is where I
great.
got my NP degree through. And I'd
Okay, great.
recommend it. I mean, it's a great program. Just a lot of these programs, you have to be self-sufficient. You have to be self-motivating. I mean, going into these programs, you can't expect to be spoon-fed.
That's a
So
great
you
way to
just
put
have,
it. Self-motivated.
yeah, you just got to get it done.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's what I did, and I'd recommend Jeff for their NP program as well. In addition, I teach clinicals there too. I taught a semester there, so I also teach their nursing students. So it's a great program.
Oh, wow, great.
Alrighty, thanks. So then you finished school, and then did you get a job right away, or what made you decide to take a look at the neurology floor that you're currently working on?
So it actually had more to do with Penn. I knew I wanted to be at Penn Medicine, seeing a lot of hospitals and clinical, speaking with, close family members at Jeff and Bryn Mawr and stuff like that. I knew I wanted to be at Penn Medicine, some type of entity under Penn. And
Mm-hmm.
graduated in May, took the NCLEX in June, passed, started applying in July. And I just knew I wanted to be at Penn. Long story short, it just so happened that it was Silver Nine at the original hub. I actually didn't pick neuroscience at
Mm-hmm.
all. I just knew I wanted to be in some type of medical surgical level floor at Penn, so it just so happened that it was neurology, neurosurgery.
That's the same thing I fell into. And so for those who are listening who are coming out of nursing school, I would just recommend applying to different positions and then going on these interviews. And then in the process, you're also interviewing the floor, you're interviewing the manager to see if
Exactly.
this is a good fit for you, because you're
Hmm.
going to be there for at least a year or two. So you want to make sure the culture on the floor is something that you align with. And so coming into the nursing profession, I teach all my clients, like, you are in the, like, you have the hands up, because at the end of the day, these institutions need nurses. So you have to
No
understand your
question.
value, right?
No question. No question. Hmm.
And not to promote Penn, I mean, they do give us a paycheck, but they're not sponsoring this podcast. But
Yeah, exactly.
Penn is
That's
a
funny.
great institution because they're a level 1 trauma center. So if you want experience to go back to CRNA school, or just have just a teaching hospital, I think if you're in the local Philadelphia area, it's a great institution to work for. Their benefits package I have found to be very beneficial. In addition to that, they're starting to be more competitive in how they start out with the rates that they're starting new to practice nurses. And
Oh,
so
absolutely. I mean, the clinical ones are matching, clinical twos. I mean, it's good for them. Now, that's what they had to do, I guess, because weren't they lacking in that factor compared to Jeff and other
it,
hospitals in the area?
exactly.
Hmm.
So I think they increased it maybe probably like $7 or $8 per hour, or something to that effect.
Right,
It's
right.
a quite significant amount, but at the end of the day, it's important to know what to do with your money. And so that's one of the things I really am a proponent of with my coaching, is just, guys, we make good money. Obviously, they don't pay us what we're worth, but it is good income, in your 20s, but you have to know what to do with your money.
No question.
With that being said, what are some of the challenges that you've had as a new to practice nurse coming on to like a neurology floor?
Okay, I would say some challenges actually have to do with skilled tasks, IVs, blood draws. I'm ultrasound training right now for IVs.
Awesome.
So not so much communication. I mean, everybody has different challenges. But I would say actually skilled tasks. IVs, blood draws, ultrasound guide IVs, wound care, things that
Mm-hmm.
really involve like maybe hands-on. You know, I would say
Yeah.
that was a big challenge, especially going through school with COVID and lacking that in person. You know,
So what did you do? What did you do to kind of like bolster your skills in that area? Did you just ask other people to do it, or did it over time you learned
good
that skill?
question. Well, at first I was delegating the task to many nurses, which was not benefiting me at all because
Mm-hmm.
um, the anxiety of poking and pricking and prodding, alerting people and missing and having to go again for help was just anxiety provoking. So
Yeah.
my management team had just advised me to start trying on my own despite the result, and I started doing that. The time just got better. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? So I think building that confidence and easing your anxiety and knowing you will miss, and
Mm-hmm.
and there's no question that any nurse on the unit could just get it for you after you try. You know.
I love your honesty, Dom. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about you. Like some people might have said, whatever else, but you're like, actually, I wanted other people to do it for me and it wasn't beneficial. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So,
absolutely. I mean, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So, did you find it easy for you to get acclimated to the culture of the floor? Did you find that you experienced any bullying? There's this very toxic misnomer with nursing that nurses eat their young. Is that something that you experienced?
I did not experience that so much. I experienced a lot of cold interactions.
Mm.
Maybe burnout nurses, people who didn't want to be there and maybe lacked the time to spend with me, whether it was a preceptor filling in for a day, stuff like that. But not so much in terms of bullying or, lack of communication. I think that has to do with who I am. I know my place and stay to myself and then build
Mm-hmm.
relationships as you go on. So
Mm-hmm.
not so much. Not at Penn Medicine, not on Silver Nine. I did not experience that, no.
Yeah. And so you brought up a really great point about burnout, which is very real.
No question,
And
yeah.
so how do you as a nurse try to improve your self-care and make sure you don't really get to that point that you saw with the other nurses?
I would think utilizing the PTO and the vacation that's there. I mean, I didn't use
Mhm.
it for the longest time. I looked at my time card. I had 175 hours of vacation hours, and
Yeah.
my coworker thought I was insane. And at that time, I was like, I was feeling burned out. They were like, you have to take the time. That's why it's there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I think it came down to um, really getting involved with the self scheduling and utilizing PTO and vacation hours when you can, because it's there for a reason, to use it.
Absolutely. And then what I find too is not feeling guilty, because when I first was a new nurse, you'd feel guilty for like calling out, like, I'm so sorry, but
Exactly.
my stomach is falling to the ground and I wish I could come in. It's like, no, you need to prioritize yourself. And that's one of the major things I try to teach. Like self-care is the best care. If you do not take care of yourself, how are you going to effectively take care of the patient?
Exactly. I like how you brought up calling out, because there's a set amount safe to have, in our field, and it's
Mm-hmm.
totally reasonable. If you're not, even if you need a mental day, I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
sure you can relate. I'm sure many people can relate.
Absolutely. Those are very, very important. It's so interesting. I made a post on TikTok a couple weeks ago, and my coworker had a patient, and the patient was just very emotionally required a lot of emotional care and support. And I was just like, I did not have the capacity. Like I literally did not have the capacity to take care of that specific patient. And I'm grateful I was not assigned to that patient. But in what I did do is that I went to the charge nurse. I know the assignment was going to change because the nurse who had that particular assignment was going to be charged the next shift. And so I knew I was back the next shift, and we were, close in the same like side of the unit. So I would
Hmm.
most likely pick up that patient. And I mean, this may be like a taboo, but I went and I said, I'm not emotionally available to take care of this patient. Please do not
Yeah, it's
assign
absolutely
me.
reasonable,
Please
because
do
at
not
that point,
assign me.
right, it's a good call. It wouldn't be beneficial for the patient at that
Right.
point.
Right.
Yeah,
And so I want to point out that it is okay. Like, we're not whining and saying, I don't want to take care of this patient. That's not what it is. You understand that the patient has certain needs, and there's a standard that we provide for our patients. And that is the foundation. Like, we take care of everyone with integrity and provide safe care. But if you know something is triggering for you, go ahead and tell the charge nurse that I'm not the best fit for this patient. You know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah, and if it can't be worked out that way, then you just communicate with the team and figure it out other ways.
Have you had any experience with like family members who were like aggressive, like verbally, or that you felt uncomfortable with? And how have you dealt with that experience if you did experience something like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially with the whole COVID protocol and the
Yeah.
hospitals being uplifted and families staying overnight. It's a big challenge. So I guess I could say just maybe if it's challenging and overwhelming and you're almost on the brink of losing your cool, probably should not get that patient back, with the family. And also express and report, have the nurse be prepared that the family or the patient, has emotional and maybe verbal responses that, are really appropriate towards your nurse, which is fine, right? We all know love is involved, so people do. I would
Mm-hmm.
think I would think reciprocating that information to the nurse, to the team, to the charge nurse, letting people know ahead of time, maybe even the providers, and then doing what's best for you, like you said, probably, not taking that patient 3 shifts in a row, to where something could happen,
Yeah, absolutely. And so I experienced there's another male nurse who started in your cohort, even though he's working on a step down ICU. But saw where a patient was violent towards him. Like there was this older male patient who was violent towards him, and I stopped it in his tracks. I said to the patient, and so one of the things, and I'm going to send you a copy of my book, Dom. I just wrote an ebook about what I wish I knew sooner as a nurse. And it has very great information on there. So everyone who
Great,
comes on my podcast as a guest, you get a free copy. So I'm
great,
going to go
great,
ahead and send it to you. But in the
cool,
book, I make sure I teach you how to set boundaries, right? And so as a new to practice nurse, sometimes it may be hard to do that. And have you experienced something where you had to set boundaries with a patient? To say, no, I'm not going to tolerate this. No, you cannot speak to me this way. No, you cannot hit me. That is not acceptable.
absolutely. It's difficult in our field because I feel like if the patient is disoriented, delirious, not alert, it's hard to communicate that. But I've experienced with an alert and oriented patient, almost something strange to say. It seemed almost, how can I say this? Not sexual, but just strange in nature, almost like the care that the person was requesting wasn't appropriate, to be
Mm,
honest with you.
yeah.
So I actually, now that you're mentioning that book, I wish I had that information prior because it's something I struggle with. So I guess long story short, it had to do with that and the boundary was set immediately after that, you know,
Yeah.
because yeah, obviously it was strange. It threw me off, and
Right.
yeah, it was strange.
It was strange. Yeah, it's not okay. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, what career you are, but in particular in nursing with the female nurses who are dominating. And then secondly, the male nurses too, maybe male patients feel that they can be violent towards the male nurse for whatever reason. It is not okay. And
Right,
I don't care if you are 2 hours old or 100 years old. If there's violence, this is how I address it. Good afternoon. My name is Tanya. I'm going to be your nurse today. I run down the neuro check. I see how their behavior is. I do their assessment. Whether or not they display it, I said, it is my intention to give you good care today. I do not expect any violence from you. Do you understand? That's it.
right.
Okay? No questions asked. And the moment they display any kind of verbal and or physical behavior, I stop it in the track. I say, this is not okay. I'm not going to accept it. Period. It's not
Right, nip it in the
okay.
bud.
Nip it in the bud.
I
Nip
think
it in
that's
the bud.
challenging. I think I honestly can't relate too much because, like you said in your ebook, I wish I had that information prior because I think as a new nurse, it's absolutely hard to set any boundaries,
Right.
you know,
Right. Right.
because you're new yourself, you're just trying to do everything you can to make the patient happy and not cause any problems. And you probably take a lot of abuse, verbally or physically, from not setting any boundaries.
Right. Right. And I saw, I'm going to get off this topic, but I literally saw the patient, this older man. And I mean, he had medical issues and he had like PTSD. Again, we're understanding of that. But in the moment, there's no reason for you to literally kick the nurse. It's not
Right.
okay.
Yep.
Not okay. All
Mm-mm.
righty. So what is the like top memorable experience that you've had as a new nurse, whether it's good or bad? What is something you're like, okay, that was a good memory.
Good memory. Okay. Well, I had a patient with a newly diagnosed Guillain-Barré,
Mm-hmm.
and successful man, great family, had many visitors. Everybody loved him. Obviously, he was well respected. Um, extremely nice in nursing staff, and he was so eager to get back on his feet. I mean, as you know, these people go their normal lives, and then one day it's just, lower extremities are extremely complicated and, plegic or paralyzed or, weak at some point. So, helped them to walk and did a lot of physical therapy and occupational therapy that the nursing staff needed to do because PTOT already made their evals and their regs for rehab.
Mm-hmm.
So giving him that time, I think it was maybe 3-4 days that week, he appreciated so much. And, actually got his wife's number and we took
Yeah.
pictures in the hallway, in the room, ambulating. And, I mean, the appreciation that he had for myself and the rest of the staff to actually, give him the effort and the time of day to get back on his feet was great.
Awesome. Awesome. So we're going to get into some fun questions, Dom. So what are
Cool.
some things that you do for fun outside of nursing?
Some things I do for fun include running. I've been running for almost 10 years, cross country
Wow.
in high school, college. When COVID hit, all we did was run. So absolutely exercise, running and exercise. I actually have a T-shirt on right here. I don't know if you can see it. Penn Medicine
Oh,
5K.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I did a Penn Medicine 5K. That was fun.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome. That's great relationship building too.
yeah, exactly. I met some people there. I think I met a couple of providers. Hey, if you ever need somebody, why not get a number? But
Yeah.
absolutely hanging with friends, whether it's a $10 bowling night, um, going down the street to Center City, playing darts, shuffleboard, sports, absolutely. Phillies, Sixers, Eagles,
Oh,
always
nice.
got that on over here. And
Uh-huh. Do you go
what
to the
else?
games or do you watch it at your place?
Both. I'm actually in South Philadelphia, so I'm only a mile down. So
Nice location.
I know I'm blessed. I'm really blessed. So we
Yes,
absolutely get
you
to
are.
Citizens Bank a lot, especially the Phillies last year with that World Series run was awesome. So
Wow.
yeah. So that's about it. I'm a pretty simple guy. I mean, I work nights, so there's only so much you can do because you work nights, sleep during the day. But
Mm-hmm.
hit the beach in the summer. Definitely catch up with my family when I can.
Yeah. It seems like you're well-rounded because as you know, nursing is very stressful. As we talked about before, you're taking care of other people, but it's very important for you to take care of yourself. So
Absolutely.
that is awesome. So what music are you blasting in your car when you're going into work at night shift?
I looked at this question prior, and I was really excited to answer it. So going into work, it's a much different vibe than coming out of work, right?
Yes.
You're going into work, maybe it's a one and done. I would play some maybe Kings of Leon, okay?
Yes.
Coming
Uh-huh.
out of work, it's blasting some Meek Mill, some Drake, some J. Cole, just ready to go home and eat a 10-inch sub and just chill.
Right, especially in the summertime, you just did one and done. It's
Yeah,
Friday morning, so you have the whole weekend off.
absolutely, yeah. So the difference in prior to the shift and after, that, I'm sure you can relate.
Absolutely. Listen, high energy, like high vibration when I'm going into work. I don't even talk to certain people before I go into work. I'm like,
Yeah,
you're not bringing
yeah, right.
no negative energy. And then what do you eat? So do you eat breakfast like when you get home or do you like just go to sleep?
So if I'm working nights, I actually eat breakfast prior to going in, and then pack lunch and dinner food for the night, and then getting off work, I usually try and stay good, maybe eat some small fruit, stuff like that. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
working day shift, usually absolutely do breakfast in the morning, lunch during the day, and then when I get off work, usually treat myself to some takeout, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Bad
that's
habit, but it's
good.
true.
It's so good. Takeout is so it's so worth
Grubhub.
it. We deserve it. Grubhub.
Yeah, I mean, where I am, you can Grubhub a cheesesteak in 5 minutes. It's terrible.
So what are some things that you do to just make sure that you are like so let me preclude this question. So what are the things that I find as I said when I started nursing like 16 years ago, I made good money, but I didn't manage the money well. So what are some things that you're doing to make sure that you're like managing your money? Because that's the
This is
one
an
key that
amazing question. This is an amazing question. Two things. I refrain from alcohol as much as I can.
good
That's just
one.
totally honest.
Good
And
one.
I actually got a financial advisor. I wasn't saving nearly as much as I should. I wasn't saving nearly as much as I should. And I reached out to my buddy I graduated with, and he's helped me save 10 times as much as I should. So that's what I did.
Wow. Dom, you keep impressing me every time.
Well, it takes the time to learn. Trust me, I didn't start like this. I started the first year. My mom was like, "How much do you have?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I told her, and she's like, "What have you been doing? What are you doing? You selling houses? You buying houses?" Like, So yeah, it takes time to fail and then to learn. Obviously.
Absolutely. I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you
Thank you.
for
Appreciate
those
that.
two things. Yeah, the alcohol is a flex because number one, it's the health benefit, and number two, it's a financial benefit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
then the financial advisor. That is amazing. That is
Thank you.
so amazing. Yeah,
I
yeah,
had to.
yeah.
I had no choice.
I'm telling you, you look around 10 years later, I did the calculation. If we saved as a nurse, if you save $10,000 a year, right? And you could do that, you pick up a couple bonus shifts, whatever. You save $10,000 flat a year. You do that for a decade, you have $100,000 in your account.
That's unfathomable. It's true. You can. I mean, it's good budgeting. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I've been a nurse for 16 years. I don't have $100,000 in my account.
Right. Yeah. God, that's funny.
I'm telling you. But I could have.
Right.
If I did what you did and got a financial advisor. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is amazing. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything else you want us to know about you? I've just enjoyed our conversation. And again, you've been so insightful. And I'm sure that there's at least, a dozen people who are going to watch this and relate to you. And just thank you for your honesty and your genuine conversation.
Oh, thank you for the kind words. I had a blast as well. I appreciate you asking me to be on this because it shows that, it's nice to have your work as a nurse. You're respected. I guess I would say, as a new nurse or any nurse coming on, if you're like communicating with new nurses, as long as you give it your all, it could never go wrong. As long as you actually have the passion and the care to do everything you can for your patients, you'll never go wrong. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. As long as you have the heart and the good reason to be on the floor with these patients, God will always grant you with success in that way. I mean, you'll run into challenges, codes, and mistakes and stuff like that. But as long as your mindset's in the right place, I think you always end up being in a good situation.
Wonderful, wonderful. Very well said. I would like to see in the future if you can come back to us, if maybe you go on and do work on another floor, whatever, your career brings you. I'd love to have you on again. It's been my absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much, Dom. I'm very grateful. And I am going to send you the ebook.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll definitely read it. I wish I had it 2 years ago, but it's okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dom. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, that was